Hey, oh God. Hey boys and girls, welcome to another flip video. We are continuing with graphs. Yesterday you were reading them, today you're going to be creating them. So what we're going to be using for our graph is, if you remember when we did our New Nation song, I had people vote, and so we're going to use that information as our graphs. So in the most informational category, remember him for Constitution had 7 votes. The Thomas Jefferson song had 3 votes. I Wrote It All, which was the Shake It All song, had 2 votes. And Welcome to Your New Leader had 5 votes. So we're going to make a graph out of that information. So remember him for Constitution had 7 votes. So I have to come up to the 7 and then draw it down. And I'm just going to do a quick sketch to fill it in. I'm not going to worry about filling it in nice and perfectly. Let's go Welcome to Your New Leader next. So Welcome to Your New Leader was 5. So I can't draw a line all the way over, but I can kind of guide with my finger to 5. Squiggle it in. I Wrote It All had 2 votes. And Welcome to Your New Leader and Thomas Jefferson had 3 votes. So we took our information that was written with numbers here, made it into a bar graph, which helps us to see really quickly which one was considered the most and the least. So that helps us see it pretty well. Alright, here's the one where you're going to do, and then we're going to check it together. I did change a couple of things here on the graph, so hopefully you pick up on that, and you can use our information for the most creative songs and put them in on a bar graph. Okay, so hopefully you've figured that. One thing I hope you notice that I changed the order of the songs down here along the x-axis, and I counted by 2s here rather than 1, so hopefully you caught that. If not, feel free to pause the video now, fix it, and then catch up with me. So, remember him for Constitution is 7, but it's all the way over here. Now, you see I don't have 7 on my bar graph, so I need to go halfway in between the 6 and the 8, which is about right there. Let's shade it in, shade it in. So now, Welcome to Your New Leader had 1 vote for most creative, so color that in. Let's go. Thomas Jefferson had 2 votes, which means I can come all the way up there. And I Wrote It All had 7 votes, so it should be exactly even with Remember Him for Constitution, because they had equal amount of votes. Now, let's say that they had, I don't know, let's just add a 1 in front of all of these to make them 11. And maybe now my labels are counting by 5s instead, or counting by 3s. Let's go 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. So now Thomas Jefferson, let's change some colors. Thomas Jefferson would now come up to 12. So on a graph it would be somewhere in between, so on and so forth. I Wrote It All has 17, so it needs to come up a little bit more, and I just screwed up my whole graph a little bit by moving it, but that's no problem. We know these have to be equal, and Welcome to Your New Leader is going to come up just slightly under the Thomas Jefferson one. So you see, even if our y-axis, our vertical, isn't counted by 1s, we can still plot it even if they don't match perfectly. So, your Bring Back to School comes to our last votes, which was the most catchy. So that's your data. You can choose if you want to count by 1s, count by 2s, count by 3s, whatever you want on your axis, but you're going to make yourself a graph. Bring it back to school in the morning, and we'll see how it goes.